Alright, hi guys, thanks for watching. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you wouldn't mind taking a second to go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done that already. Beyond that, we're gonna just be talking about cannabis today. I'm gonna run this video down in 5 different sections. First, I'm gonna tell you about my credentials, what makes me qualified to even talk about this topic. Second, we're gonna answer the question, the age-old question of whether or not it is a drug. Third, we're going to talk a little bit about the stigma behind cannabis and where that came from. Fourth, we're going to chronicle the medical uses. And then fifth, we're going to talk about use of cannabis in recovery from drug addiction. So let's get into it. My credentials, what makes me qualified to talk about this? Well, aside from the fact that all through junior high and high school, my nickname was Zola Zola Smokabola, I have studied at Colorado State University, Pueblo, which is home to the world's first, and as far as I know, only cannabis research institute. So I do get a lot of the research done hot off the presses, straight from the horse's mouth, right from the researchers that are doing the research, not the twisted and biased news articles and stuff like that. I get it straight from them. On top of that, I've taken multiple classes about cannabis from Dr. Tim McGettigan, who literally wrote the book on cannabis, and he even went up to Canada and helped them with their whole legalization process. I live in Colorado, obviously, so you know, I know a few things. I am by no means an expert, but I do know some things. I know more than a lot of other people. So moving on, is weed a drug? I see memes all the time and weed is not a drug. I hear people saying it all the time. Come on, people, it's obviously a drug. It gets you messed up, it's mind altering, and for those of you that say it isn't, I feel really bad for you because you have obviously been smoking some really shitty weed. It is a drug. It is. It is a drug with a lot less potential to be harmful than a lot of other drugs. It is a drug with some miraculous and amazing beneficial qualities, but it's a drug. Even Tylenol is a drug, come on. Moving on, the history of the stigma. I'm gonna just glaze over this really lightly because I've actually done a multitude of videos on cannabis and the history, cannabis in society, how we got from where we used to be to where we are now. And I will go ahead and put some little cards up here that you can click on if you're interested in knowing that. And I'll also put some links in the description. But basically what it boils down to is racism. Harry Anslinger was a pathetic little man. He was like one of the front runners in prohibition with alcohol. And when that went down and was an epic failure, he was almost out of a job. So what did he do? He decided he needed to find something else to rally people around and fight against. That's how he got the term marijuana. He was trying to give it a little bit of a south of the border flavor because let's face it, we are historically a very racist country. And so he was able to associate cannabis with the black people and the Mexican peoples and that, and he's even, you know what, I'm not going to get into the quotes. He's a pretty sad and sick little man, and of course the American people bought right into it because they didn't realize this horrible drug that he was talking about was the same drug that was in their medicine cabinets helping them with their illnesses, and that was being cropped by farmers. The Constitution was originally made on hemp paper. There is a long history of how our society came about having this crazy stereotype and stigma against cannabis. It's just ridiculous. That being said, I would like to talk a little bit about the medical uses. It does have some amazing medical properties. It can be used to treat a plethora of ailments and illnesses, and that's not just talking about like THC, getting high, avoiding all my problems, not facing reality, that kind of stuff. There's cannabidiol, CBD, which has 0 psychoactive properties, and this said to be a better pain reliever and anti-inflammatory than ibuprofen with none of the serious symptoms. It can be useful in treating epilepsy. It can be useful in just like a multitude of ways. THC even, I've got absolutely no problem with THC. I am pro-legalization. I actually am. Just because I can't partake doesn't mean that I'm gonna be like, oh, nobody else can. That's stupid. Just because I can't drink doesn't mean I'm gonna say that nobody else can. I mean, come on. It's a little bit ridiculous to think that just because I have an issue with something, nobody else should be able to do it. So now, number 5, I'm gonna pull it all together. Use in recovery. I know if I am blunting reality, if I am still getting high, if I am, not living my life 100% clean, then I'm not being honest with myself, and I am not doing the best that I can do to be a productive member of society. I'm not judging people that smoke by any means. Working in retail for the last million years, I can say you may think you're good to go out in public and you may think that you're great. You're not. We always know, and it's really hard to deal with people that are stoned. It is. You guys are not cool. You're not as good as you think you are. Just want to put that out there. That's not to undermine people who are going have no other choice and have chronic pain, have cancer, have things like that. That's not to deter you from going out in public and living your life. I'm just saying maybe don't smoke a fat joint and leave the house. Having the history of smoking cannabis that I do, I'm not clean. If I'm still getting high, if I'm not living life on life's terms, I'm not clean. If I'm still using substances to buffer reality, I am not clean. If I am not thinking clear-headed when I'm trying to work on myself and when I'm working my steps and things like that, I'm not recovering. I'm still falling into that interrupted emotional development because you can't develop emotionally when you're stoned out of your mind. You just can't. I am 100% pro-legalization though. My husband would disagree with me. I know a lot of other people would as well, but I don't see marijuana as a gateway drug. I feel like it's a gateway drug because in the past you had to go to the drug dealer's house to get it, which exposed you to a bunch of other substances, and because it had that air of secrecy around it. I know a lot of teenagers aren't even smoking now because the thrill is gone. There's no, what is that? The forbidden fruit syndrome as the stigma lessens. There's, it's losing its appeal. People who say weed isn't addictive, I have something to say to you. Just because you haven't become addicted to something doesn't mean it's not addictive. I've seen people pawn all of their shit for it. I've seen people rob houses for it. I've seen people suck dick for weed. I've seen all of these things. So to say that it's not addictive at all is completely asinine. It's got a lot less potential for addiction than a lot of other substances, but it does have some detrimental qualities and addictive properties. It just does. It may not have the same ones as heroin or meth, for instance, but I have seen people get addicted to weed. It is definitely something that you want to be careful of. There's studies out there too that show smoking before your frontal lobe is fully formed, so around between 23 and 25, can lead to paranoid schizophrenia. Now, that's not to say, one thing is definitely related to the other. We all know correlation doesn't equal causation, but there is a link between smoking before your frontal lobe is fully formed and schizophrenia. It's just, things to be aware of. And like with anything else in the world, yes, there are some good properties. There are some beneficial properties to cannabis, absolutely. But with the good comes the bad. Nothing in this world is 100% good, and nothing is 100% bad. It's deciding whether or not the benefits outweigh the risks. And I do believe that in some cases, yes, the benefits do outweigh the risk. I think it's definitely given a lot of people their lives back. I have a friend who has the most painful condition known to man, and it's enables her to not want to kill herself every day. And you have to be honest with yourself too. I'm gonna go ahead and post a card here for my chronic pain and recovery film. And to me, when I talk about narcotic pain medication, I'm also including cannabis in that. I don't think it belongs in the same schedule on the drug schedule as heroin and acid. I don't, absolutely not. But I don't believe it really has a place in recovery from addiction. Clean is clean. That's all there is to it. And you can justify and you can rationalize all you want, and you can be like, oh, well, what about coffee and what about cigarettes? I mean, come on. Like, I'm going to just go ahead and refer you to my rationalization and justification and excuses in recovery film, and that's it. What is your goal in recovery? What is your goal? I know sometimes things aren't black and white. Is your goal harm reduction? Because if it's harm reduction and you're still smoking, then cool, okay, that's fine. Is your goal to actually get clean and face life on life's terms and live your life in a clear state so you can be the best you can be? Then cool. I don't want to put anybody down or anything like that. But when I'm in a meeting and I get my coin, and then somebody else who's been smoking pot throughout their entire career in the program, when they pick up a coin too, it's not fair. It's really not, because we are not the same. We're not. It says straight up in the basic text and even in the AA Big Book, clean is clean. All mind-altering substances. That's not to say like antidepressants or anything like that. Those don't get you high. They don't take you away from reality. They help fix the chemicals in your brain. If you say, oh, THC does that for me. No, the cannabidiol does that. You can get those beneficial qualities and properties without getting high. That's it. That's all there is to it. So I am pro-legalization. I really am. Again, just because I can't do something doesn't mean I think everybody else shouldn't be able to. I think if you are an adult, you should be able to make your own decisions. People that are in recovery and try and say, oh, but it's legal. Well, so is alcohol. So are painkillers. That goes too for the same people. Oh, it's a plant. It's natural. It's great. So is opium. You know what opium is? That's what you make heroin from. So really, I could just go ahead and rationalize the hell out of that excuse too. And half of y'all aren't even smoking the plant. You're taking all of the chemicals out of it and making dabs and just all this crazy wax stuff. You want to tell me that's not a drug? Please, like, that's insane. I've seen people like turn green and pass out from taking dabs. Now, I know I'm gonna definitely get some blowback from this video, and that's okay, because this is stuff we need to be talking about. I know if I am buffering from reality, I'm not truly gonna recover. And I know if I have mind-altering substances and I am not learning how to live life on life's terms, it's only a matter of time until I start making poor choices, and that altered state of reality leads me back to my drug of choice. Don't believe me? Then, keep doing it. And then when it happens, okay, hopefully it doesn't. All I know is things I've tried. All I know is my personal experience, and I know what I've seen from everyone else around me. So I know there's some of you that are gonna have to figure it out for yourself. And I really hope nobody takes this as me saying, oh, everybody that smokes weed is a drug addict or a junkie, because that is absolutely not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you're a junkie or a drug addict, you cannot smoke weed and be clean. You're not. If you're not, like, if you are one of those people that can just smoke and chillax and relax and that's it and you're fine and you're good for you. That's awesome. I'm happy for you. My hat is off to you. I'm really gonna start making more of an effort into not calling it weed. I'm gonna start calling it cannabis, because really saying weed just kind of plays into the stigma and it plays into the stereotypes, and it just kind of makes it sound trashy. All right, well, so, what do you guys think? Do you think it's okay to smoke pot in recovery? Why? Drop it in the comments. Let me know. I'm probably not going to agree with you because I've been doing this for a long time and I've had a lot of successes and a lot of failures. Also because I follow the program of Narcotics Anonymous and Alcoholics Anonymous, and clean is clean, and that's it. And that's all there is to it. If I'm getting high, I'm not clean. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you guys found this maybe at least a little bit informative. And next week I will be doing a talk about harm reduction and maintenance drugs. So stay tuned for that one.